Hey guys, this is Dylan here. So today I'm going to be teaching you about the primitive data types in Java. So right here is a chart of all the different types of primitive data types. So there's a byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, string, and Boolean. And then right here, you can see all the default values. So whenever we declare one of these primitive data types and we don't assign it to anything, it'll default to its corresponding respective value. So um, right now we're only going to be talking about int, double, char, string, and Boolean because these are the most useful ones. All of them are useful, but these are the most used ones and the easiest ones to wrap your head around when you're first getting started. So first we'll start off with int. So to declare an int, I first write int. Then I want to choose its name. So we could just do any name. I'll just put number right now. And then we could do set this equal to whatever number. So it has to be a whole number. So let's say 6, I could set it equal to 100. It doesn't matter as long as it's a whole number and it's not a decimal. If you have a decimal, it won't work. It'll give you an error. So for an int number, we're just going to set this to 4 right now, okay? And then to check, we could also do something else so that you can learn more about ints. We could see what is the biggest number that we could put into an int. So the way we could do this is by doing int, and we'll just name this one max number. Again, it doesn't really matter what you name it as long as you remember it, and it's usually want to do something that when you look at it, you'll know what this int is referring to. So max number, and then we'll set this to integer dot max underscore value, and we do this in all caps. And then like if we were to print this out, so I go system.out.print, and then I do max number, we can actually see what the largest number is. So down here, you'll see it's this big number. This is the largest number that you can have into an int value. There's other ways that you can go about having a longer number, but I'm not going to cover this in this video. So now after you learn about int, what you should be learning about is double. So double is a decimal number. So we could do this, we'll just call this decimal. And then we'll just set this equal to, you could set it equal to 2.3, 2.5, 5.5. It doesn't have to be a decimal. You could just set it equal to 5 right now, but it will default to 5.0. Like this. So if I were to print it out, if I were just to print out a double of decimal, and I were to go system.out.print, and I go decimal, this is just going to print out 5.0, not just 5, because it is a double, as you see right here. This is 5.0. Okay, so now going on to the next primitive data type, this is a char. So we set this we do char equals, char, and then we set a name for it, so we could do letter. And what a char is pretty much one character. So it's like a single character of you could do either number or letter, but it has to be a single one character. So we'll set it to J. And then we could print out this char, so we go system.out.print letter. And then we'll see that this prints out. Oh, oops. And you'll see that this prints out J, like that. But if I were to go and put out like Jack into this char, you see already you could see that there's a problem right here. And then if I were to print it out, there would be an error because char can only be one single letter or number. You could put 7 in there, and it'll print out a 7, just like that. So now the next primitive data type that we want to learn about is a string. These ones are very useful. So string is just any string of words or numbers or anything together, but it treats the whole entire thing that you put inside the quotation marks as one. So I'll teach you this right now. So we'll do string sentence. We could make this a whole sentence, or we could just make it one letter, or we could just make it an empty string. So I'll show you all three. So right now we'll put, this is an empty string. I don't have anything inside it. These are just the quotes. And then everything I put inside the string is assigned to this sentence variable right here called sentence. So I'm going to put, let's say, hello, my name is Dylan. Okay, so this whole entire sentence is inside this sentence variable, which is a string. But if anything that I would put in between these two quotation marks, that is what this string will hold. So let's print out sentence and see what it prints out. And boom. Hello, my name is Dylan. So the last primitive data type that we'll be talking about is a Boolean. So yeah, it does have a pretty funny name, but Boolean, we could just set it to a true or false value only. Those are the only two values we could set it to. It's either true or false. So we'll name this Boolean, we'll just name it I, okay? I don't have an idea for what to name it, but you could just name them anything. And then we could just set this one to false. And then now if I were to put this inside the print statement and I were to do system.out.print, you'll see that it prints false. But it's not like a string. Like if I were to put like false and then I say letter, right here, it's going to be an error. This is only false. It's not printing out a string. It's just printing out a true or false value. And I could do the same thing with true. If I do true, it prints out a true value. And then this is very useful for, like, for example, I haven't taught this yet, but let's say if I'm doing if statement, if I is true, so I don't even need to say is true. If I just do if I, then it's going to see if I is true, and if it's true, then it will run what's inside this if statement. So let's say if I do if I print system.out.print, you win. And then let's comment this out right here. Okay, so now if I is true, it's going to print out you win. And there, it printed out you win. But let's say if I set this I to false. Let's see what happens. Nothing prints out because the I is not true. So that's it for the primitive data types. I hope you guys learned something from this video. I will be making more Java tutorials in the future, so stay tuned for those.